This girl was violently harming herself in her lower body, but the reason wasn't physical at all. She wasn't doing it because she wanted to. The demon had completely taken over her mind and body. As the movie begins, we are shown the ancient city of Hatra in Iraq, where large-scale excavation work is taking place to uncover mysterious findings. Father Marin himself is also present at the digging site, working alongside the other archaeologists. During the excavation, they uncover an amulet belonging to the demon Pazuzu. Pazuzu is an extremely powerful demon associated with scorching heat and dryness during the summer, and during rainy seasons, he brings devastating locust storms. These swarms arrive in massive numbers, destroying all the crops they land on. This results in severe consequences: food shortages, starvation among the people, and rapidly rising poverty. Pazuzu also has a fierce rival named Lamashtu. Lamashtu is another demon known for harming mothers and their children. He steals children from their mothers and drinks their blood. This is why, despite Pazuzu also being a demon, people invoke him for protection from Lamashtu. They believe Pazuzu can defend them from Lamashtu's cruelty. Father Marin eventually reaches a point during the dig where he discovers a large statue of Pazuzu. Two dogs are seen fighting nearby, symbolizing the ongoing conflict between Pazuzu and Lamashtu. The scene then shifts to Georgetown, where we meet Chris McNeil, an actress working on a film directed by Burke. Chris is the mother of a 12-year-old girl named Regan. As a successful actress, Chris enjoys fame, wealth, and a comfortable lifestyle. Later, we see Chris spending time with Regan. Chris finds a Ouija board among her daughter's toys and asks her about it. Regan tells her she often plays with it, and that the game isn't played alone. She plays with someone called Captain Howdy. Chris suggests they play together and asks Regan to show her how it works. As they attempt to play, the planchette suddenly moves on its own. Chris laughs it off, joking that Regan doesn't want to play with her. Regan responds, "It's not her, but Captain Howdy doesn't want Chris to play." Chris does not take this seriously. One night, Chris is sleeping when the phone rings, waking her up. She notices Regan is sleeping beside her and asks why she came there. Regan says her bed was shaking, making it impossible to sleep. Chris dismisses it and steps out of the room. She hears noises in the attic again, sounds she had heard previously. She checks upstairs, but finds nothing unusual. Then, Chris takes Regan to a doctor. During the checkup, Regan behaves aggressively and uses foul language toward the doctor. The doctor explains that Regan may have a nerve disorder, which causes unusual speech, anger, and mood issues that can escalate into depression. Chris insists her daughter has never had such problems. The doctor suggests that Regan's stress may be due to her father's absence and lack of contact. We then see Father Karras, whose elderly mother has been admitted to a mental institution by her relatives. His mother is distressed and refuses treatment for her injured foot. And Karras feels guilty for not being able to move her to a better hospital due to financial limitations. Shortly after, she passes away, leaving him heartbroken. Chris hosts a party at her home, during which Regan suddenly appears and tells a guest that her father lives upstairs. She then urinates on the floor in front of everyone, shocking the guests. Chris bathes her and puts her to bed. As Chris leaves the room, Regan's bed violently shakes and Regan screams in terror. Chris witnesses this, but cannot understand what is happening. Chris takes Regan for further medical tests. Regan suffers great pain during the procedures, but all test results come back normal. The doctors say she is physically fine, yet her condition worsens. Soon, an invisible force lifts her from the bed, tosses her into the air, and slams her back down. Regan screams for help, begging to be saved, but Chris can do nothing. Regan becomes fully possessed and uncontrollable. Doctors sedate her, but Chris returns home to learn that director Burke has died after falling from a building. Burke had been staying with Regan that night so she wouldn't be alone. Regan later crawls downstairs in a disturbing, unnatural posture, bleeding from her mouth. Terrified, Chris realizes something far more serious is happening. Doctors and psychiatrists remain clueless as every medical test shows Regan is healthy. They finally suggest Chris seek help from spiritual healers or exorcists. Detective William arrives to investigate Burke's death. He tells Chris that the injuries were extremely unusual. Burke's head was twisted completely backward, suggesting he was killed by a supernatural force. Shortly after, Chris hears horrifying screams from Regan's room. When she rushes inside, she finds Regan violently injuring herself and attacking Chris. The servants run to help, but the door slams shut on its own. Furniture begins moving by itself. A sofa blocks the door, and a heavy cupboard slides towards Chris. Chris escapes just in time. Then Regan turns her head completely backward while speaking in Burke's voice, saying, "Look what your daughter did to me." Chris realizes that Burke was killed by the demon possessing Regan. Desperate, Chris seeks out Father Karras and begs him to perform an exorcism. Karras initially refuses, but eventually agrees. When he goes to Regan, the demon taunts him by speaking in his deceased mother's voice, something Regan could not possibly know. This convinces him the possession is real, but church permission is required to conduct an exorcism. The word "help" appears carved on Regan's body. Chris recounts everything, including Burke's death. Convinced of demonic possession, Karras presents the evidence to the church. The church decides the exorcism must be performed by an experienced priest, so they send Father Marin to work alongside Karras. When Father Marin arrives, he hears Regan's screams and immediately begins the exorcism. As the ritual progresses, Regan screams, curses, and insults both priests. Her bed shakes violently and lifts into the air. Objects fly around the room as the demon attacks them. Regan's wrists break free and she levitates. The priests struggle, but manage to bring her down. Father Marin sees the demon's shadow, and Father Karras breaks down emotionally, blaming himself for his mother's death. The demon keeps tormenting him with her voice. Marin sends Karras out of the room to compose himself and continues the exorcism alone. When Karras returns, he finds Father Marin dead. The demon has killed him. Enraged, Karras demands the demon enter his body instead of Regan's. The demon accepts, possessing Karras instantly. In a final act of sacrifice, Karras throws himself out the window, choosing death to end the demon's influence. As he lies dying, his friend arrives and performs the last rites. Regan returns to normal with no memory of the possession. Shortly afterward, Chris and Regan leave the house. And the movie concludes. Subscribe to the channel for more horror movie explanation.